I want you to know that you've killed my baby girl. And you are going to pay for this.
Simon, wherever you are right now, I ask you to bring yourself forward. This is my daughter's life that's gone.
It's not as bad as you think it is. I know that you've made a mistake, but we can sort it.
I love you, but please understand the circumstances that you've put us all through.
Hearing your voice would make this all a lot easier for me and for Mum.
Simon Weatherby, you are a fraud, and the country expects an apology.
I hope you come back, you pay for what you did, so that you can come back to our lives, because we really need you. We need your help.
I think you should lay low for a while, man. Just like Ron.
We love you, Simon. We love you.
On the 8th of March 2018, just hours after visiting this park to meet with friends, 23-year-old Amelie Jones took a cocktail of prescription medicine and alcohol and was found dead 2 days later after failing to turn up for work. Amelie Jones had been suffering from acute depression and anxiety for a number of years. The coroner's report filed an open verdict. Her state of mind could not be ascertained on that fateful evening, and so it could not be determined whether she planned to take her own life or if this was the result of a tragic miscalculation. Although on the face of it, Amelie's case is a sad but far too frequent event, as a result of the inquiry into what happened, a remarkable story began to unfold. One involving deception and fraud, but also featuring remarkable levels of loyalty and human care. It's a story that prompts us to question the trust we can place in the people we turn to when we are at our weakest, and asks deeper questions about the type of care we need and receive. Simon Weatherby worked at the Glenbury Centre as an associate mental health therapist and counsellor for just under 10 years. He saw over 50 patients in the building that you can see behind me, as well as a number of others privately. Unfortunately, what no one realised is that Simon Weatherby had no qualifications. He'd never trained as a mental health professional in any way. After almost 10 years, the life of Weatherby, his family and friends, and his former patients would change forever.
Simon Weatherby, Associate Counsellor at Glenbury Centre, is tonight on the run following an investigation into the death of Amelie Jones, a 23-year-old patient who had been seeing Weatherby for over a year. As a result of the inquest into Ms. Jones' death, her mental health therapist, Simon Weatherby, was found to have falsified his qualifications and lied about his experience. He had been working with patients at the hospital for nearly 10 years before being discovered.
Today, Simon Weatherby is on the run, with an international arrest warrant hanging over his head. His family and friends are left to make sense of what has happened.
Before all of this came out, I saw him going to work and obviously kissed me goodbye as he normally did. Later on that evening, I was expecting him back for supper and he didn't come. I haven't heard from him. I just hope that he's okay. It's very hard being in the house without him. He's my world.
I spoke to him the day that it was all exposed. It was about a 30-second conversation on the phone. I just rang him and was like, and luckily for me he answered, and he was just trying to reason with me and give me his reasoning, and I was just like, I don't want to speak to you. Obviously I told the police what I said and what he said, but apart from that I haven't heard from him at all. I haven't a clue what he didn't say where he was going.
I haven't even spoken to him, so I wish I knew.
Surprise, but kind of kind of bit of a, sneaking admiration for him, really. I think to get away with that for 10 years, pretty impressive, I've got to say. Really, really impressive. How'd you do that? So, yeah, I suppose that was surprise and, a little bit of, good on you.
While Weatherby's family and friends are making sense of his double life and fugitive status, the family of Amelie Jones are left trying to come to terms with their loss and to understand what was happening in her life, the hours, days and weeks before her tragic death.
Okay, I suppose if my brain will let me think rationally for a minute, and for 1 minute I could think that my daughter was still alive, then I could be telling you a different story and say he really helped my daughter. He saved my daughter's life. I can't say that because he didn't. Maybe he has done that for somebody else, but he's not done it for me and my Emily. I don't know how to put it into words. I might need a minute. Sorry.
But to be honest with you, as I say, the past few years, it's been really difficult to try and tell you much of what's been going on. I do know that she's been struggling with a few things.
It's very difficult. You never ever think you're gonna bury your child before somebody else. Coming to terms, no. I'm not coming to terms with it at all, sorry, no. I just don't think you would ever come to terms with this, not ever.
I thought maybe she's just a little bit standoffish with me. When in reality, I think now upon reflection that maybe there was something more going on. So when you ask me how long it was going on, the anxiety, the depression, it's really hard to say, but I would say it's been going on for longer than I'd care to say.
We split up, me and her father, quite a few years ago. I don't think he doesn't know his daughter anymore. He didn't know her. You can give somebody a bit of money to let them know you're there, I suppose, but what is that? She didn't, as far as I'm concerned, she didn't really have a dad in her life. So no, he didn't do anything to support her. Whether she was having good times or bad times, he wasn't there for any of it. From being 7 years old, he's had nothing, in my view, to do with her.
I found a comfort in moving on with my own life, thinking that at some point I would be able to, recover the relationship, the lost time that we'd spent. And now that she's gone, I worry if there's never going to be the time to get that back, and the effect that that's had on me is worse than anything it ever could have been before she died. A regret I can't remove.
Now, Simon Weatherby was raised in the small town of Duston, about 20 miles from Stoke-on-Trent. He was the only child of Margaret and Jeremy Weatherby, who are both now deceased. Although he was not exceptionally academically gifted, he managed to attain a place at Rosebery University, where he met Sophie Shaw, who would later become his wife, as well as his only close friend, David Shaft. Now, I managed to track down Mr. Shaft, who did not want to be filmed, but agreed to do a telephone interview.
As I understand it, you were one of the first people to receive help from Mr. Weatherby.
I know what you're implying here. I just want to make sure that you're aware that, him choosing to do this unqualified is not because of me. I had a friend who was going through a bit of a tough time as well, similar to my own actually. I said you should really speak to my friend, so I passed his details on to Simon. I mean, was I aware that my friend was paying him? I had an idea, yeah, but like I said, it was 10 years ago. I didn't, I think he was just helping Simon financially because Simon was spending a lot of time with my friend, more than I was. It's not like Simon requested money from him. Simon was doing a lot of work for my friend. You know, a lot of hours were spent on trying to help him. So I think it was just fair, don't you?
As a professional yourself, what do you think Simon Weatherby's justifications were for doing what he did?
I have no clue.
Do you think that Simon Weatherby's manipulative or maybe attention-seeking behaviour could point to evidence of his own psychopathology?
Perhaps. I have not met Simon Weatherby myself, and I would not dare to comment on that.
I work at Wave International, and I was born a few miles away from here. I live in Norwich now, or Norwich as they say. I've been an HR manager really for most of my life, really. So yeah, I've got a wife and divorced and 2 children. But yeah, so that's me. And Simon worked for me. He was he started off as an admin guy, and then I kind of liked him. I thought he was a good man, and he knew his stuff. So I promoted him into an HR officer, and by the time he left us, he was an HR manager. So yeah, he worked for me for about 8 years, really. I really liked Simon. He was great. He was good with people. He was a great talker. He was always chatting to people and always friendly. He was a very good listener. He was a very good communicator. Of course, I taught him everything he knows.
2008 was a critical year for Simon Weatherby.
The stock market hit an all-time low since 1897. 1.3 million people lost their jobs in this recession. Simon Weatherby was one of the many to lose his job.
I had to just find somebody to, and it was him, really.
Within just 2 years of being made redundant, Simon was already taking on cases for the local health authority, and after another 2 years he had a permanent associate contract. But how was this allowed to happen? How was he able to fool so many people? And who was responsible for Simon being able to work with some of the nation's most vulnerable people?
I don't know how long Amelie was feeling the way she felt that led her to this moment, but if it was leading to this, why was no one monitoring it? If they were, then why was nothing said to anyone? I mean, I thought they had a duty of care to tell someone, to tell the emergency services, to tell a parent, to tell anyone if they're talking about killing themselves. And if she wasn't talking about it, then how did the therapist just simply not pick up on it?
There are warning signs that pop up when a condition evolves. And Simon Weatherby would not have been able to detect those warning signs. And that might be why some of his patients might have grown worse and worse without him even realizing it, and leading to tragic consequences.
Disappointed in the system that they could let somebody like this manage to get through the system or weave their way in somehow. And how did he manage to get away with that? How did they manage to let him get away with that? How did they not see it? How can you do that? Not notice these things?
If I'm honest, I don't think any of my team should have been affected from something that Simon has done. My team works extremely hard. They followed protocol, they followed guidelines. So, the answer to your question is I don't think anyone should have lost their job based off something that he has done.
Start to see the articles emerge, the things about Simon Weatherby, and the fact that he wasn't qualified to do the job, the fact that the firm that he worked for didn't even know that he wasn't qualified for the job. I feel that there is blame to be had. And now I'm only wondering, should he have been working there at all, and what are the kinds of things that he was saying to my daughter?
He's cut short my beautiful daughter's life, in my view.
I hope that they find peace with what's happened. I know that they're blaming Simon, but really I have to ask them to really look at how ill their daughter was and to be honest with themselves, which is often very hard for us to do. Obviously, no parent wants to lose their child. It's the most horrendous thing that you could ever imagine. And I'm truly sorry for their loss. Obviously, I have compassion in my heart about that because I wouldn't like to lose either one of my children. But I don't believe that Simon is responsible for the death of their daughter, Amelie. I know that they're probably very angry with Simon and they want to blame somebody and they want to blame Simon. But she was very sick before she went to see him.
Do you think your father is likely to feel any guilt for the death of Amelie Jones?
I think that's only natural for someone in his position. It happens too much.
Each year, approximately 1,700 people are killed on UK roads.
Between March 2017 and March 2018, 285 killings took place involving knives. In 2017, the year that saw atrocities at Westminster, Manchester, London Bridge and Finsbury Park, 36 people lost their lives to terrorist attacks. By dwarfing the death toll from these frightening causes, roughly 6,000 people take their own lives every year in the UK. That's the equivalent of the 2017 terrorist attacks multiplied 166 times. Or to put it another way, the same as a major terrorist incident once every 2 days. It's estimated 1 in 4 people in the UK suffer from a mental health issue every year. And with the statistics as they are, it's hard not to see why the mental health services are under constant increasing strain. The waiting time to receive talking therapies is 2 to 3 months, sometimes longer, and only 1 in 8 people with mental health issues are receiving treatment. It is against this backdrop that Simon Weatherby gets into the system and begins treating patients.
Cuts or no cuts, money or no money, this should not have happened. That's the first thing that needs to be clear.
I mean, my team are under consistent pressure all of the time.
I do believe that because the service, especially the mental health service, is under a lot of pressure at the minute, everyone is seeking support and we are trying to find it where we can, which is one of the only explanations I can find for someone like Simon Weatherby to be able to practice for 10 years without having been discovered.
Yes, there is pressure there for myself and within my team, but I feel like that's a bigger question. I don't feel like I can answer that. Unfortunately, I there is pressure, but I wouldn't be able to answer that question.
A situation like this could be resolved by giving the mental health service more money in the future.
Have I considered my position?
Your position at the hospital?
Why? Why would I consider my position at the hospital?
Just why?
No. Of course I haven't considered my position. As I've said, I work extremely hard, my team works hard and we follow protocol. So, no, I haven't.
If a person like Weatherby has managed to trick the system, he was probably able to trick vulnerable people that did put their trust in someone like him. I do not know him personally, I don't know what his qualities are. Maybe he's a very sympathetic person, you don't know. And he might have tricked those people and have them believe that he was actually helping them when he was not.
You can't help everybody. Not even fully qualified people have 100% success rate. So I think it's a bit unfair to label Simon as this monster.
In a mental health service, we are dealing with extremely vulnerable people. Depression, anxiety, it can be what we call mild to moderate symptoms, which are usually low mood, for instance. But even then, those symptoms can lead to more extreme ones. A condition can evolve over time, and in case of more complex conditions, such as a bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, suicidal tendencies, we need people who are professionally trained, who have spent the past 5, 6, 8, 10 years in study to actually know what they're doing in assessing conditions of mental health with very vulnerable people.
I blame myself for not spending the time with her that I could have spent.
In addition to asking who is responsible, another perhaps more important question emerges. Is this an isolated case? Or are there more Simon Wetherbys out there?
No, I hope not, sincerely. No, apologies for that, I shouldn't have laughed. No, I don't think so. I mean, look at the backlash that's happened with Weatherby. Because, is that because he's a singularity? Is that because of the circumstances of Emily's death? We can't be sure on that, but I think if you look at the media outrage on just one man, can you imagine the level if we sort of opened the field up to more unqualified professionals, if you will? No, I don't think that's something that will happen. I don't think that's something that has been happening, and not to my knowledge anyway. I've not heard of any other sort of similar undue cases, and I'd prefer to keep it that way.
If it has happened once, I think it can happen twice, yes. And I'm afraid this is possible.
Again, we're taking all the procedures that we can, in the sense that we're training, ensuring that we're aware of this going forward. So, maybe take the necessary requirements to ensure that we are fully aware of who's qualified, what they've been qualified in, and again, just ensuring that this doesn't happen. I mean, the only thing we can ensure is that we are professional within everything that we do going forward. We keep a closer eye and ensure that everyone trained is aware, so that this can't happen again.
This is destroying my family. I haven't spoken to my daughter for weeks. She's so angry. Her dad, her father, was everything to her. He was her inspiration, the reason that she's taking psychology at university, because she wanted to be just like him.
For me, obviously I don't want to see him or speak to him. I can't get my head around it, so I'm just kind of distancing myself from him, and I don't live at home either, so I don't really have the bond that perhaps James has, because he's at home and he's with mum and I'm not. I don't really speak to my mum anyway. It's just, if anything, for me, it's made me feel more isolated and on my own than anything else.
Within days of starting this investigation, I received dozens of messages, all from former patients of Weatherby, all vouching for him. Now, I was interested in meeting some of these people who claimed he had helped them, but first I wanted to talk to Weatherby's family, to see what they thought of the techniques that he used, and why so many people wanted to defend him.
He's a natural. He listens to people. He makes them feel at ease. I just still can't believe that it's true.
I just believed him. I didn't really have any reason not to. I'd seen him be like that with me. So he'd helped me. He'd helped plenty of the family, his friends. We all thought that this was, oh, of course you took the night classes and went to study because this is something you care about, and that's all that we saw.
I think really the only way you can look at it is maybe cognitive dissonance, where, you know, he knows he's not doing the right thing, but him in his mind is finding a way to make it right, if that makes sense. And that's the only thing I can think of, even though it's not right.
Yes, he didn't have the qualifications on paper, but who makes up those qualifications anyway? It's only the government. I mean, years ago, before there was all of this, there were people that did what Simon did without qualifications.
Well, I have been suffering from BDD, body dysmorphic disorder, and it was really bad. I was no longer leaving the house. I even kept the curtains closed because, you know, I was worried that someone might look through the window and just get a fright from seeing like a hideous monster. You know, they might just get a heart attack, and I was like, shit, you know, I don't want to give someone a heart attack. And, you know, I also didn't really want to feel self-conscious any more than I did in my own house. So yeah, I didn't leave the house. I closed the curtains. I just spent hours and hours just sat in front of the mirror, just crying. So yeah, I decided I needed to stop seeking therapy because of that.
He wasn't doing this for himself. He was doing it for the people he believed he could help. And I guess that's how he ended up there. That's what people saw.
I've always suffered of OCD, but after I had my daughter like 2 years ago, my OCD got way worse. I got to a point where I couldn't work, I couldn't do anything. I was always thinking that Hannah got hurt, you know, and that I might have hurt her somehow, or all that. And I lost my job, and my relationship with Leslie was getting worse and worse, and I didn't know how to like get out of that, you know. So I started seeing some therapists, but they were not helping. I went to see 3 of them before finding Simon, and for the first time, like, I was very skeptic about him as well. But with him, after a couple of weeks, I started understanding that he could actually help me. He would listen to me like no one else did before, and I felt like he really could understand what I was feeling, like my nerves.
He must have been something special, surely, for them to let him in. He must have had some sort of something extra, because he cared. I know he cared. He knew he cared. He believed.
Simon was helped me in a difficult time. Yeah, he was there. You know, my father died, and Simon helped me through it, and you know, he just made me talk about my feelings, and he helped me. Yeah.
Speaking to some of Weatherby's patients, I got the impression that his methods were much more hands-on than the traditional approach. He was getting involved in the lives of his patients. Even in the case of Tamara SPROUSE, babysitting her daughter to help with her obsessive-compulsive disorder.
I think what the good thing about it was that I actually had to face with my nerves. I had to like control them, to feel them for a long time. Because usually when I have like a thought about checking something, about doing something, you know, I just go and do it. Because if I don't do it, I feel worse and worse and worse. So I don't have much time to feel those nerves. But in those cases when he had to babysit Hannah, I just had to survive. I just had to wait and deal with those emotions that I was feeling. And that's maybe because I've never done anything like that. I couldn't ever be that brave to not do those things that my brain was telling me to do. That's maybe why it worked, because I was forced to do it, yeah.
Well, I've seen a lot of different counsellors, and yeah, I didn't like them. They were really shit. Like, they were really expensive and really shit. And, you know, like, one of my first counsellors I went to, I kind of explained to him that I just sort of felt like I had a really mannish body because of my because of all the exercise I'd been doing, and that I just felt really ugly because of that. And you know, he just said, well, why don't you just stop working out, stop doing gymnastics? It's like, you're not a personal trainer, you're a counsellor, you're supposed to fix this.
Yeah, Simon helped me remember my father. I think there were lots of things that I chose to forget, and Simon helped me work through those. You know, he was almost, you know, it's almost like a friend, a professional, you know, but it's still a friend that you can talk to and listens to you when, you know, no matter what you say. And he helped me. He's a great man.
When I said to Simon that, you know, I spend all day sat in front of a mirror crying, he was like, right, we're gonna go to your house. And when we got to my house, he threw out all my mirrors and he said that you're going on a mirror detox. And I've been on a mirror detox ever since. I have not looked in the mirror for 2.5 months now, and I feel great.
He really did help me, to be honest, and I'm really glad it helped those people, and among them myself, you know. And I think he was doing that for the better of the people as well, not just for the money like people are saying right now. It wasn't just about that, because yeah, it was taking my money, but those therapists that I saw before him, they were taking my money too, and they didn't even care about me. Well, with Simon it was different, and he really cared about me, he really cared about getting me better. And he did.
Simon also said to me that I should just sort of fill my days with activities all the time. Like right now, filming this interview with you guys, that's an activity. After that, I'm going to go to the pool and I'm going to swim. After that, I'm going to read for an hour.
Simon, you know, he's great. You know, he's such a good friend, but a professional as well as a friend.
After that, I'm going to watch Black Mirror. After that, I'm going to watch Prison Break.
All his methods so professional.
After that, I'm going to watch Gossip Girl. After that, I'm going to vacuum the apartment. After that, I'm going to brush my teeth. And then after that, I'm going to go to sleep. So my day's filled. And that's what Simon told me to do. And it's great, because that way I don't spend hours thinking about how I look?
Well, I believe from what I've experienced before, they would always, all the therapists, they give me tasks to do on my own or with my partner. They would never get involved into the task, let's say. But with Simon, it was different. He really put himself into helping me and into the task, and then I'm sure it's not a usual thing to do for therapists, but since I trusted him so well, and since I saw him as a person that I could really trust, I went for it.
I mean, he's made every difference. Simon is not just a counsellor. He's my spirit animal.
I wasn't able to work, and I wasn't able to do the normal things, in my daily life. Now I feel like I can actually work, I can have a normal life with my partner, my wife Leslie. I've never been able to actually face my anxieties. Every time I think about something, or if I think about that I need to check my daughter, I go and I do it, and I go and I do it, and again and again and again.
I put it to Professor J. Pollock that Weatherby's practice and more unique approach might offer something that more orthodox methods do not. Would there be a place for people such as Weatherby?
If you want a more relaxed approach, then by all means do, but I think that should be something more for the lower level sort of cases, if you will. Not to belittle people's obviously personal issues, but I think if it is something low level and manageable, then of course talk to a friend, talk to people like Weatherby, but for more serious issues, trust a professional, trust somebody who has been trained, and go and see individuals like myself and the plethora of other individuals that are on hand to help.
Unfortunately, as we've been made aware, he wasn't a professional. He shouldn't have been giving professional advice. So it's a yes/no answer for me, really. Unfortunately, I feel he's clearly helped lots of people, but he's done it in the wrong way.
And after I met Simon, and I didn't think he could help me either, because I've seen many therapists before him, and none of them really helped. But after I met Simon, I really started changing, and of course I still have my OCD, and I still have to deal with that and control myself, but I started working again. My relationship with Leslie is actually going way better now, because he was falling down, it wouldn't have worked out otherwise without Simon. And I can relax, both at work, both at home. I know that my daughter is safe now. Sometimes I still think that she might, get hurt or something, but I still can control my OCD, and I can go back to a normal status, and that would have happened without Simon, and I really don't know what would have happened of me and my daughter and my relationship with Leslie, and my life really changed, and I hope I'll keep being like that now that Simon is gone, because if I need him again, I can't have him back.
Simon's not a bad man. He would have only wanted to help Amelie. You have to know that. He would have done his best. I'm sorry that he didn't manage to help her.
He was out of his depth. I think, again, it came from a good place, but it's something he just was not equipped to deal with.
Well, I think he should get an award. I think he should be on television, He's a great man.
I mean, it does make a difference to me. why would it make a difference? I've been to a lot of counsellors, and they had credentials and they didn't know what they were doing. They were piles of shit. And I think that they should be practicing, like, they should be, I don't know, they should be actors or something, because all they do is repeat lines. How does that make you feel? How does that make you feel? How does that make... That's not even an actor, that's a parrot. I could have gone to a parrot and they could have done the same job. So obviously Simon is better at their jobs than they are, even though they've got credentials, so it doesn't make a difference to me. I think credentials are overrated.
When I set out to make this film, I thought I knew what the story would be. Now I'm not so sure. I've heard from grieving parents of a tragic suicide. I've listened to the opinions of experts and heard the testimonies of some of the many patients who reached out to me to defend Wetherby. One thing we know for sure: Wetherby is wanted by the police, and when he is caught, he will have to answer for his actions. Did he contribute to the death of Amelie Jones? Or was she so ill that anybody who tried to help would have failed? Was Wetherby a con man, preying on people? Or was he actually trying to help? Perhaps more important than his motives, did he actually help? Was he able to provide something that the mental health services could not? Simon Wetherby, fraudster, or just the person his patients needed?
Simon, wherever you are right now, are you feeling yourself fraud?
I'm sure that dozens of other patients talked about
Simon Wetherby
benefited from the
If you watch this, I want you to know that you can have a baby girl. You were paid. You were going to take Simon Wetherby, and the country expects an apology.
You need to know who you really are